Those that are interested in a little bit more about the feedback loop experiment that I've just been playing with, um, I won't be able to give all of the full-on details in a schematic because it's just far too complicated. Even just the one coil design, I couldn't possibly scribble that down. But I'll also make up my own symbols. Okay. But yeah, here's the basics, right? So we have the AC signal source, active and reference. Okay. The AC signal active goes through two bifilar pancake coils in parallel. Now, this symbol here is just my little symbol for a bifilar pancake coil, all right? So the idea, you come in, it spirals all the way inwards and then jumps to the next one and spirals all the way inwards and then comes out. So it's going through two of them in parallel, but the key thing is the rotation, okay, in this particular system. Let's say these two are both clockwise. So, and they're coherent in their rotation. The active also goes to another bifilar pancake coil that has an anti-clockwise rotation. So it's going through all of them, but let's say the two clockwise ones are going up to what would be the antenna output and across the one end of the variable capacitor. But the one that has the opposite rotation goes to what would be chassis ground, optional antenna element, radio, whatever, and the far end of the variable capacitor. And notice the variable capacitor is not just across the two sides of the AC input, it's across the summary of the system. Now, the feedback loop system, I mean, look, the coil, it was on a toroid, and there was literally 32 bifilar windings, right? It's very complicated to explain, but it wasn't just me winding a twin wire around it 32 times. It was a case of, what's that, hang on, 32, 16, 8, all right. So there was 8 turns of the bifilar winding, then another 8 turns going around the toroid, and then another 8 turns, another 8 turns, sort of thing. Sorry, I'm not of the bifilar, but if you do the summary of following the actual wires, it would have turned out to be 32 turns if I'd linked it all as a quadrifilar coil. But anyway, so essentially, anyway, let's not too worry too much. It's doing my head in. Let's not worry too much about that. But the idea is the bifilar, right? I've got them floating at the ends, they're not connected. So let's say a twin lead, we've got our little twin lead, and it's going around a bloody core, and at the far end, it's still just a twin lead open, all right? So at the here and here, I'm tapping at both one end, and the far end's open, but a lot of turns, right? And many times around the core. So the idea is, let's say with a back EMF, we get an inrush here. At that point, it doesn't know that there's nowhere to go up here. So the inrush, as it comes in here, creates an inrush in here with it, so when this, let's say, is becoming more positive, it draws from here and makes that side more negative. That's the concept, okay? Which just ever so slightly magnifies the waveform. So instead of a slight sine wave, we have a slightly more magnified sine wave when tuned to resonance. So that's the basic idea. But yeah, there's not a chance I can give you all the proper detail. And forgive my loony made up stuff, but work with what we got. I never was formally educated very well, but I just love doing this shit. So yeah, there's the basics of the idea with the feedback loop, and it made a noticeable difference when I employed that. So, yeah. It wouldn't even be any point in you copying my system because it would all depend on the exact wire lengths and blah, 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 blah. I'm just playing with a concept and learning and experimenting, expanding all the way. So, yeah, I just thought I'd share that and hope you enjoyed. And yes, I'm mad, aren't I? Making up my own crazy symbols. 7-3 and thanks for watching.